guys, what's up? Fo Editing or Reese here. We're going to start our very first tutorial from a little break. So this one's going to cover Quixel suite. Now, this is going to be a tutorial for a select few, but you know, if you haven't got this program, it might be worth the watch. You might actually want to get it if you're into your modelling and whatnot on games design. It's definitely worth the money, and I'll show you why. And it's Quixel suite is used, or part of it is, to create normal maps. So as we can see here, I've modelled yesterday a Wacom tablet for just a little project that I'm doing, and I've got the pen and what. If I just turn on the wireframe, you can see the topology of it. So it's very low poly, as you can see. The pen's got a little bit more detail, but you know, we don't want it to look rubbish now. And then some stands at the bottom, the labels and that. So I've kept it as basic as possible. As you can see, USB, and the rest of the detail is going to be done by normal map. So this is what we're going to sort of cover today on how to use Quixel suite. So what I've done is I've UV'd it. I've exported my snapshot, and if you don't know how to do that, I've got tutorials on that, on texturing and all that on my channel. So they're not long ago. They're recent uploads. Well, if you go onto my video list, it'll be one of the recent ones. So yeah, I've come into Photoshop now with this snapshot with all my UV parts laid out. As you can see here, I'm using 2048 by 2048 pixels. Now I always make this higher than what I would expect. Now for a games design, I would expect this to either be a 512 by 512 or a 1024 by 1024 texture. It depends really how it's going to be used. If this is just going to be in the distance like that, I'd use a 512 by 512 because we won't be up close to see it. But if you do come close to it, then I'll use something like a 1024 by 1024 just to get that extra pixel detail in there. So because it'll be 1024, I always put the one up from it, which is 2048 by 2048, because then that way I could create some nice high quality stuff, and I can always bring it down a notch. You can create that detail and bring it down. You can't create little detail and then boost it up. It's a little bit harder and a bit more fiddly to do that. So it's always best just to do it a little bit higher and then bring it back when need be. So I'm going to use 2048 by 2048. Let's boot up Quixel suite. So come up here, and Quixel suite is basically I'd say like a sort of a plugin. It works within Photoshop. So make sure Photoshop is open, and then open up the old Quixel suite. Yeah, I'll download the updated in a bit, but there we go. You get this little thing here, and the one we're going to be using today is called NDO, and this is purple one with an N. Anyways, so what we're going to do is we're going to hit up, click on that, and then you have a little box appear. There we are. Now the thing with Quixel suite is I thought it looked just a bit confusing at first, but it's actually really easy. So what I can do now is if I just add a base colour for my Wacom, there we go. What I want to do is I want to create sort of like an inside groove around here to sort of mark out the base of the pad against the actual drawing section of it. So if I got a picture, I'll show you. There we go. So as you can see here, this is the base, and then this bit in here is the drawing section. And you can see there's a little groove going around the outside. And you don't want to make all that in Maya. That you'll be using way too many polys. And for this piece, I've got 1600 tries, which is okay, I guess. It's not too bad. Maybe it could be a bit better. I can probably optimize this area a little bit. Maybe the pen is got too many round the diameter, so there's many things that you can do to sort of optimize and clean up, but we're not going to go into that just yet. We're going to make this groove. So come into Photoshop. Now I know, just because I UV'd it, that this section here is the top of my Wacom, and you can sort of use this as a basis. I modelled it from reference that I know that this area around here, let's just select the face. This area will be the start of our drawing drawing pad. So that can help us because we can come into Photoshop, click on our UV snapshot layer, making sure that's alone and on separate. Go to the magic wand tool, click in here, and it selects this edge for us. And then what we can do is you can come here, create a new layer, and then what I usually do is I just fill it with a bright colour. And I do that with a lot of things. So if I do the same thing here, so magic wand, sorry. There we go. Do that one. And I'll just change the colour to green. Oops, create a new layer. There we are. And then what that does is I use these as masks. You know, because the thing with Quixel Suite is you use shapes inside of Photoshop to generate normal maps. And I'll show you why. So I'll just delete that one, it was just an example. Now we've got this. If you look... no, sorry. Hold Control and click on the picture here. And what it does is it selects your object. And when you hover over it, it says here, selection. So it's basically saying selection into a normal map. And that's what we want. So if I do that now, you'll see what happens. There we go. So now it's created a normal map from our shape. And it basically is using that shape, you know, as, I don't know, as a normal detail, I guess. And now it's generated, we can start sizing up. We can adjust opacity. We can actually soften the inside edge, so it's nice and rounded. Yeah. You can do the outside edge as well. Let me turn this off just so you can see. But that's various other options which we'll come to in a bit. But what we want is a groove. Yeah. So if we go to bevel, and then you've got all these different sections here. Now we want the groove because that's going to create this shape here for us. Now the reason we had to create this shape is because it will take the outside of that shape. Yeah, and whatever your selection is, the normal map will be created from that. Yeah, so that's why I've created this here, and it's following all around my shape here, which is perfect, which is what I want. And then what you can do, making sure you got this layer selected, which is the rectangle layer. As long as you hover over here, these options will appear, and then you can use your size and whatnot to bring it right down to make it a nice thin crease in there. Yeah, and that is really quick and easy normal details, and you control every aspect of it. You know, and you can always go back and change things, which is really nice. Let's look at the picture again. Maybe I shouldn't have closed that down. We've got another one here. Yeah, so let's create another one. So the way that I do this is I'll do things a little bit differently. This is a bit of rough working, but it doesn't matter. So again, I'll create a new layer, put my U thing on, and I'd say I wanted the line around about here. Now I'm going to drag out this to about there, maybe drag it down, and I'm leaving space top, bottom, and then this side. And I'll explain to you why. So if I get my color thing and fill, there we go, and then I can, because it's already got the selection, bump that into a normal map. There we go, sorry, turn on my normal layer. As you can see here, I only want this line. Yeah? So what I can do now is I can go onto my bevel, go onto my groove, which I wanted last time, and to make things match a bit, I will. So at size 4, click on that one, hover over, and then put that one to size 4 as well, so they're all equal. And if I take this off, I've got this, and it's like, oh no, that's not good. Now what do I do? Now you can blend, so you can hard light it, so they sort of overlap. But then you've got these bits here. So I don't want them. So what I would usually do, you can do it two ways. If you want to be able to come back and edit this, then I'd suggest this method. I would basically select an area around here, still leaving a bit of space, as you'll see why in a sec. Hold shift and then drag the bottom bit, again leaving some space, and then all of this bit. So we want this bit to be removed. Yeah. So what you can do is you can come into this box here, and then you can click on each one, hit delete, the next one delete, the next one delete, and it's taken away all these different layers and different shades from this normal map. Okay, yeah, maybe that didn't work. It's what it's done is it's just closed the box in. Okay, maybe not then. Let's come back. Sometimes that works, sometimes it doesn't, but in this example it hasn't. So another option is you can right click and then you can merge the group, yeah, and that turns it into a layer. However, you can't go back and edit it, yeah. So I don't know if that's me, but this line seems a lot thinner. Oh no, that's about right, it's just the way it's zoomed in. So now you can actually come in and delete and create sharp edges. So if I just then go and delete this, if I know that's what I want, then that's no problem. But if you want to go and back and edit, this maybe isn't the best option for you. So then you can go back into your UV snap chart. What you might actually want to do is, because we've still got a bit of base, you can just cut that off. You can cut this off. You don't need spacing now for deleting from a layer. If you start deleting from an editable object, then your normal map doesn't just cut off, it sort of rounds itself off. So that you'd have to be careful with if you're looking to create sharp finishes. So there we go. Now we've got our sort of basic normal map. If I just save this and I'll pop this in, and we'll see what it looks like, and then at least then that's sort of an insight of what Quixel Suite can do. I mean, obviously I'm not gonna, this isn't a full Quixel tutorial, but we'll come back to this in other tutorials. So I just call it normal map. I'm going to do a lot of let's models, like from start to finish of like creating models, and you'll see the full processes, and then that way you can see what Quixel Suite is really like. And I'm sorry, I missed that bit there. You go File, Save As, you go to Targa. So I'll do it again. So Targa file, and then when you click normal map, you go 24-bit, because 32-bit supports alphas, and we haven't got any alphas, so 24's fine. And then what you can do is you can start bringing it into here. Now, because all of this is on one UV, there we go, it's all on one UV sheet, I can create just one more material. Close this now, and we'll just go for a blend, delete all type history, and we can go into our bump mapping, which is our normal map. Now, although it says bump, you'll see why in a sec. So go File, and then it says Use as Bump. We don't want a bump because that's black and white image. We're using an RGB, which is a normal. So we go tangent space normals, and then bump value, and our normal map will plug in the values. So it will tell Maya this bit's fine, this bit has this certain value and whatnot, and then it sort of calculate that nice and good. So insert the normal map, and then make sure the texture sign is on, and as you can see here, we've got our grooves. Now, I always find it looks a bit odd in Maya. I mean, you can come up to the renderer and go into Legacy High Quality. I do prefer that. It does change the colour, but you can see the normal map detail a lot better. But I always find in Marmoset they look a lot nicer, which we'll go on to in another tutorial. So there we go, guys, and then you can start adding your colours, and then we'll go into gloss and specular maps in another tutorial. But that's Quixel Suite, guys, and it's very handy. You can create very nice and precise shapes for your models, and I like to keep them nice and clean, and they just look better overall. And then you can do that for any object. And I will just quickly go into another detail. What you can do is, if you let's go on to the old Google, and we can get a brick texture. This is nothing to do with the Wacom. This is just something else for Quixel Suite. Is this high quality enough? That's brilliant. So we can go to Save As, go into Photoshop and open this picture up. Right, now another thing Quixel Suite can do is it can use an image and generate a normal map out of that, which is brilliant. So convert to Smart Object Rasterize, and then click on the actual picture, and as you can see here, it's got photograph to normal map. Click on that, let it do its thing. There we go. Now let's create the normal map from our picture, which, you know, obviously you might have to clean up areas, but that's a really useful tool. You know, and then you can adjust the size of it. I tend to go quite small with the size on the images, because the smaller you go, you get more detail. Like the bricks, you get more detail. And then what you can do is you can bump the contrast up and that if you want it to be a bit stronger and a bit more in depth. Yeah, so that, and then you can sort of apply that. You know what I might do actually? No, I won't. That's actually a bit more hassle. I'll come on to this in another tutorial. But yeah, and then what you could do is, you could potentially move that over. Now, if this looks all funny colour like this, it's because it's not under the adjustment layer of our normal section. So if you click this and drag that just underneath, sorry about the dogs, then it turns it into this bluey colour. So what you can do is you can actually bring that underneath, and then again, like I said, if you want this all to blend in, go to blend, soft light maybe. Oh no, sorry, that's got to be on top in order to affect that. Put it back on top. There we go. So let's have a look. Overlay, and then just bring the opacity down. So then you can put sort of overlay pictures on pictures, and you can get some nice normal details and whatnot. So that, yeah, this is Quixel Suite, and I hope from what you've seen, you can see it's a quite nice tool to use. And in the future, I'll show you sort of various tips and tricks on how to make better shapes and whatnot. And hopefully you get it, because it's very useful, especially for games design and that, because you're going to need normal maps. So please like and comment. If you have any suggestions or any questions, please pop them in the comment section, and I'll get back to you. I always answer the comments. I always find time for that, because that's, I think, more helpful for you guys. So see you later. Peace.